Now, there's this idea that in the same way we share the same physical reality, the idea is we also share...
the same wardrobe.
And the same, and the same wardrobe, clearly. We didn't plan this, did we?
Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Nick Tan Chats, my magic and mostly mentalism review show. My name is Nick Tan, and on today's episode, I'll be chatting with you guys about OTT by Louis Laval and the 1914. So hi again guys, welcome back to the channel, and as always, thanks for showing up, thanks for tuning in, and for spending some time with me today. So on today's episode, I'll be chatting with you guys about OTT by Louis Laval, released with the 1914. Now, today's episode is going to be the shortest ever review episode on my channel and possibly on YouTube. Okay, so here's my review for OTT. If you are a mentalist, and if you work with billets at all, if you're interested in billets at all, buy this. Get this. That's it. That's my review for OTT. So as always guys, thanks for watching today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, take care of yourself, stay safe, enjoy your magic and mentalism, and I will see you on a future episode of just in case you want a more detailed opinion. So what is OTT? Okay, so OTT is basically, it's a billet move, okay? It's a billet switch of sorts, but it's not exactly a billet switch, because for most of us, I mean, the general kind of definition of a billet switch is a move that enables us to switch one billet for another secretly. OTT is slightly different in that it is a billet move, it is a billet switch, but it enables you to not switch a billet. So what I'm saying is it is a pseudo switch, okay? It looks exactly as though you are switching one billet for another billet when in actual fact nothing happens. So such moves have been done before, with like billets, playing cards, ESP cards as well, envelopes even. And I do believe one of the more popular handlings of this particular kind of a switch would be the daily switch. Bob Cassidy has also released something called the extra sensory switch. One Tamaris as well has got something that goes, towards the sides as well. Essentially, they all kind of accomplish the same ends, which is a visual switch, but in actual fact, nothing really happens. Okay, so OTT is exactly that as well. So I've known about this move for a long time, even before I bought this download, okay? And I did buy this download, this is not like a review copy that was sent to me. I did buy this with my own money, but I bought it already knowing the move, okay? Because this is not a newly published move, Louis has actually published this move before in a previous publication of his with E-Mentalism called The Whisper Tapes, Volume 5, I believe, on a project that was called The Dreamer. So I learned it at the time and I know the move, but I bought this particular release anyway because I do understand that ever since then, Louis has had many other kind of applications that he has developed, and this looks to be a really complete collection of all the ideas that he has gathered using the OTT. Now, I'm sure if you have been looking at, reviews so far, or, listening to the chatter amongst mentalists and magicians about this particular move, you would know that many people sing its praises when it comes to its visual deceptiveness. Unfortunately, I won't be demonstrating the move here, on camera. While it is visually really, really deceptive, you can kind of, I think, with repeated viewings, kind of, reconstruct it. If you do wish to get a little glimpse of the move in action, okay, OTT in action, there is a kind of really split-second demonstration on the trailer. So if you'd like to catch a little glimpse of how it looks like, you can head on over to 1914's website and watch the trailer. That being said, how does the switch look like? Okay, so I can't demonstrate it for you, but I can kind of describe to you how it looks in performance. So basically, one billet will be resting on the table, all right, in tent fashion, just like that. You have one billet in your hand. So what appears to happen is you pick up the billet from the table and you toss it over to your other hand. And then you place the original billet that was in your hand on the table. Okay, so basically you're like switching the billets just like that. Now, when you do the OTT, it looks visually perfect. Okay, it looks exactly as though you have switched the billets. So there's also a way for performing the OTT for real, okay, which means you really switch the billets, okay? And in both instances, they look indistinguishable from each other, okay? So even if you really switch it, or if you didn't switch, it looks exactly as though you did or you didn't. So what do you get when you purchase OTT? So you'll be given access to about 100 minutes worth of tutorial. They'll be split up into a couple of videos, I think like, I don't know, 15, 16 videos, which again makes learning really easy, especially if you wish to just go back to revise a particular chapter. So in the video, Luis Laval will give you an introduction to the OTT itself, the basic move. He will teach you the move, and then he'll be performing some of the routines that are taught on the tutorial video. Luis covers a wide variety of applications for the OTT, and then at the end of the video, he'll also give you some closing thoughts as well to end the whole tutorial. So as I've mentioned earlier, I've known of OTT, which incidentally, OTT stands for over the top. Okay, so if you learn it, you'll understand why it's called that. Okay, it'll all make sense to you. So I've known of the move for quite a number of years now, and well, back in 2015, all right, I actually played with a move that I came up with, and I was using it in a 2-billet routine that I was performing with tarot cards. And I had a move in that routine that is really, really similar to OTT. And I actually contributed a small lecture video on that routine to a private Facebook group back then. So the move that I developed was really similar to OTT. However, OTT, the handling for OTT is just way much more natural, I think, and in fact, ever since learning OTT, I replaced my original move, with OTT itself. So if you are an experienced mentalist, you will begin to already see the kind of possibilities, the potential that this sort of a move allows you, right? Having the appearance of having switched a billet when in fact you haven't done anything. This particular technique, when combined with other methods, such as an OA, can be quite, lethal, I think, right? Because you have another layer, a visual layer, of deceptiveness when it comes to which billet is which. Okay, I think if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. But a move is just a move without applications, right? And Luis actually takes you through a whole bunch of applications in the video. There's a routine called collateral, okay, which I think is a really, really practical, really strong routine. So it is a 2-billet routine. You have a spectator make a drawing, so you will be duplicating the drawing at the end. However, along the way, you can also reveal an extra bit of information. It can be anything like, the date of birth, the name of a loved one, literally anything. So the idea is that as you are in their minds kind of searching for that particular drawing, you also see other bits of information which you can reveal. Collateral can also be performed with the Orphic wallet. Okay, so if you have the Orphic wallet, OTT is a perfect thing to use in conjunction with the peak that is available with the Orphic. There is also a routine called intuition versus guessing, I believe, where you have the spectator kind of intuit a piece of information that you've written down on one billet, and then they will guess the information on another billet. The idea here is that they should always trust their intuition. It is seen that whatever they have guessed is wrong, is off the mark. However, the billet which they use their intuition on, they manage to get the information correct. There's also a routine called hit like a psychic. Okay, so as the name suggests, it is a readings kind of a routine where you kind of act psychic, I suppose, and the spectator has a reading done with you. Okay, so you're able to, really get really specific pieces of information, the name of a loved one, their career, their future ambitions, whatever you like. Okay, and you can show that you are really, really accurate. There's also a way to use OTT as a peak. This one, the peak is really, really clever, I suppose, really sneaky, but everything is done so openly, the OTT along with the peak as well, it's really sneaky. There is an application where you can use OTT within the context of a clear forcing bag. Okay, so if you're a mentalist, a magician, I'm sure you know what a clear forcing bag is. However, in this particular handling, you can perform a similar, ends, a similar means to the end, a similar means to the same end. You can perform pretty much the same kind of a thing with a clear force bag, except this time it's an ungimmicked, gaffless force bag. So this was really clever, I thought, the choreography of it all. I do believe that Bob Cassidy has released something similar as well, in his Artful Mentalism of Bob Cassidy. But yeah, it's a similar kind of a concept, but in this case, it is using the OTT. There is also a routine called two-person telepathy, where you have one spectator play the role of a receiver, one spectator plays the role of a sender, and at the end of the demonstration, it is seen that the sender has successfully sent over a piece of information. This one is really clever. I've seen similar concepts for a stage routine before. I think Kennedy has published something similar before, but in this case it is just using a pair of billets. At the end of it all, Lewis will also take you through a routine called Delphi Q&A, which is a one-on-one Q&A handling. A spectator thinks about a question that they have about their future, and using just two billets and the OTT, you'll be able to not only kind of answer their question, but you will also leave the spectator with a souvenir of sorts, okay, which they can bring home with them, and the magic kind of lives on even after they've left you. So Lewis does give you a lot of applications, ideas for how to use the OTT, and I'm very sure that once you have watched the videos, you will come up with ideas of your own. I also believe that if you are a billet worker, and you have this kind of a concept already in some of the routines that you do, the OTT can actually replace some of the moves that you currently do. Because in this case, while a billet switch requires the use of a secret billet, in the OTT, everything is done in the open. There's nothing to palm, I suppose I can say that. There's nothing to palm. Everything's done in the open, and it looks visually really deceptive. If you were to perform a real switch versus OTT where you don't switch, both scenarios look absolutely indistinguishable from each other. In fact, it is a move that not only does it look deceptive, when you do it, it feels deceptive as well. Okay, so I do believe that once you try it out a couple of times, you might even confuse yourself. You might kind of tell yourself that, that really felt as though you switched the billets. Some people had concerns about how difficult is the move to learn, and I will tell you this, the move is really simple. It is just so easy to learn. I promise you, I think, that you will be able to do the move with just a couple of tries, and you will learn it in probably 30 seconds. So just learn the move, in 30 seconds, and you will probably be able to use this in some shape or form for the rest of your performing life. The only thing I had about this particular release, on this video is that, in the trailer, there were like some scenes of actual live performances with real spectators, right? Out in public and stuff like that. But in the tutorial, those were not shown. I would have loved to see Lewis, just go up to people and use this material and perform for them. Another question that people might have is that do you need a table to perform this, or can it be performed like walk around in spectators' hands, right? Because the basic move, as it is taught, is actually done from a table surface. However, you can perform this in a spectator's hand, so as long as you have a spectator hold out their hand like this, and you place one billet like that on their palm, you can then I'm just so tempted to show you the move right now, but you can then do the move direct from a spectator's hand. So you can pick this one up and then place the other one down onto their palm. Okay, so that works as well. So yes, I do believe you can perform it, walk around, in like mingling performing situations. So yeah, that is OTT. I feel that once you get this, and if you love billet work, you know, you will have other ideas that will come to your mind. In fact, an idea that just came to me, you know, just thinking about the 1914, is that you could combine OTT with Louis Laval's star map, okay, which I reviewed on a previous episode as well. You could have, you know, one spectator write down their star sign, another spectator write down the name of a loved one, for example, and then using the OTT, you can actually nail both pieces of information in a really clean way. All right, so if you do have you know, star map, and if you do get OTT, this, you know, probably will make some sense to you. Alright guys, so that's all I have to say about OTT. If you'd like to hear other opinions about OTT, I think Luca Volpe, you know, has also done a review for this particular product over at his Facebook group. Alright, his Luca Volpe Facebook group. So if you'd like to hear, you know, his thoughts on the product, do head on over to his Facebook group and have a look at his video as well. If you'd like to pick up a copy of OTT for yourselves, I will leave the link in the description box down below. So for real this time guys, it's the end of today's episode. I do hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, do stay safe, take care of yourselves, have fun with your magic and your mentalism, and I will see you on a future episode of Nique Chats.